So, you want to see what all this plant-based fuss is about, and you've decided to sign up for Veganuary. Trouble is, you do not want to lose all of your hard-earned muscle. Fear not, I've got you covered with this Bodybuilder's Veganuary Survival Guide. Hi, I'm Paul, a former personal trainer and nutritionist. I've been lifting weights for 32 years at this point, the last 8.5 years as a vegan. It's super easy to build muscle as a plant-based athlete, and when it comes to fat loss, you'll feel like you've been given a cheat code. There are just 3 things to bear in mind. 1. Protein sources. You do not need to eat animal products to get adequate protein. Meat, dairy and eggs only contain protein because of the amino acids that were made by the plants that the animal consumed. Despite what you may have heard, no whole plant foods contain incomplete proteins. In fact, the only incomplete protein in the whole food chain is found in gelatin, an animal-derived product which lacks the amino acid tryptophan. Plant foods do have varying amounts of each essential amino acid, however, so it's important to eat a range of the different available plant foods. This is no big deal, however, we need to be doing it anyway. From the perspective of health, ideally we'd eat from these range of foods daily. Legumes, such as lentils, chickpeas, split peas, and the myriad of beans. These all contain masses of protein. Whole grains, these contain a lot of protein too, as do nuts and seeds. Vegetables can have a moderate amount of protein depending on the type, and even fruits have some protein, on average around 5%. Although a little more processed than the above, tofu is a great protein source and is delicious when cooked well. I'll put links in the description box below to videos showing you how to marinate and cook tofu in the oven and how to make tofu scramble, the perfect scrambled egg replacement. Another great protein source is tempeh, though it's an acquired taste for many. Again, if cooked well, it can be delicious. I'm a huge fan of making tempeh bacon. As per Omnivorous Bodybuilding, there are plenty of vegan protein powders on the market. They'll all do the job. Personally, I choose to get one from the healthier end of the spectrum. VivoLife is organic, highly digestible, and is third-party tested for over 500 different contaminants. If health is not one of your goals, then there is a staggering array of more processed vegan protein foods. Seitan, textured vegetable protein, vegan chicken, vegan sausages, even vegan burgers that bleed. Whatever type of vegan diet you choose to eat, the animals don't mind, they're just grateful to be left off the plate. During a gaining phase in a caloric surplus, 1.62 grams of protein per kilo of leanish body weight per day should be adequate protein for anybody. In a caloric deficit while cutting or doing recompositioning, nearer 2 grams of protein per kilo of leanish body weight per day may be nearer the mark. 2. Adequate calories. Not such an issue for serious bodybuilders, as you likely know how many calories you need to reach your chosen goal. For the average person on the street, however, I'd recommend to start counting your calories, or likely you may come up short, especially if you include lots of healthy, whole vegan foods such as low-calorie fruits and vegetables. You'll need to find out roughly how many calories you may require. An online total daily expenditure, or TDEE calculator, is perfect for this. Weigh yourself before commencing, ingest these calories each day for a week, reweigh yourself, and then make any adjustments as necessary. Note, only weigh yourself in the morning, after the loo, and before you eat or drink anything. This is called your true weight, and using this you'll find it much easier to calibrate to your exact needs. A 500 calorie surplus or deficit will see most people gain or lose around 1 pound per week, so use this knowledge to titrate your intake. I find the best app for tracking calories, macros and micronutrient intake to be Chronometer, which happily is free on a computer. It's also available for cheap on Android and iPhone, etc. If the volume of food becomes an issue, then it's wise to emphasize the more calorically dense foods. The protein sources I mentioned already are pretty good for this. Save for the beans, you may want to limit those at first. Tubers such as potatoes, sweet potatoes and yams are good, as are tropical and dried fruits. You could consider going a little heavier on fat, the healthiest choices being nuts and seeds, whole nut and seed butters and avocados. And smoothies are a great strategy. My morning smoothie generally consists of protein powder, oats, dates, berries, flax seeds and chia seeds, and it tastes delicious. And 3, supplements. The key supplement for vegans is vitamin B12, though 2/5 of Americans, mostly meat eaters, are reckoned to be deficient. Among many other important roles, vitamin B12 helps to metabolize macronutrients into ATP, the body's energy currency. Because of the terrible bioavailability of vitamin B12, younger people should ingest at least 2,000 micrograms per week or 50 micrograms per day. Over 65s should get at least 1,000 micrograms per day because of their lack of intrinsic factor at this older age. The second supplement to consider is vitamin D, preferably in the D3 form. If you're lucky enough to be living closer to the equator and get plenty of sunlight, you may not need to supplement this one. However, half the world is reckoned to be deficient. This is actually not a vitamin at all, it's a hormone and it's responsible for over 3,000 of our body's metabolic processes. For the bodybuilder, it lowers sex hormone binding globulin to free up more testosterone with which to build muscle. It also aids fat loss. According to many experts, the sweet spot for your average adult seems to be around 2,000 IUs per day. However, for a larger strength or physique athlete, more may be optimal. Through blood tests, I've been able to ascertain that I need around 4,000 IUs per day. I wouldn't recommend adding in more than 2,000 IUs without blood testing because in high doses, as vitamin D is fat soluble, it does become toxic. Note, vegan vitamin D3 comes from lichen, while the standard vitamin D3 comes from lanolin, a substance secreted by sheep. Yuck. The next supplement to consider is DHA, a long-chain version of omega-3. If the average male ingests at least 3.2 grams of ALA per day, or for a female 2.2, and they're getting no more than 4 times that in omega-6, then likely a direct DHA supplement is not required. The best sources of ALA are ground flax and ground chia seeds, though hemp hearts and walnuts are pretty good sources too. However, some people are poor converters of ALA and may need up to double those amounts. If you're really unlucky, then you could have been born with an issue, which means that you can't convert any and would need a direct DHA source. One such scenario would be where someone is born with a genetic defect, meaning that they can't produce the enzyme elongase required to elongate ALA up into EPA and then onto DHA. For this reason, I like to supplement with 250 milligrams of DHA or a combined EPA-DHA per day, just as a fail-safe. Another nutrient to consider is iodine. Seaweed is the best source, so I like to include it in my diet daily. 1.5 sheets of nori or half a teaspoon of arame provides the 150 microgram RDA minimum. Many countries add iodine to their table salt, though excess salt is bad for the human body in several different ways, so I like to avoid this. If seaweed is not to your taste, then personally I recommend a simple iodine supplement. The rest of the nutrients should be easily attainable if you eat a calorically adequate diet centered around the whole plant foods. If you're not health conscious enough to do so, then you may need to add in a multivitamin/multimineral. As for actual meals, I have lots of recipe and what I eat in a day videos in playlists on my channel, so please give those a look. And for Veganuary, both my cookbooks are currently half price, just £4.99. One is high protein aimed at gym goers and the other is healthy desserts that will help you pack the calories in. Please help spread the love by sharing this on your social media or with anyone that you think may benefit from this video, and then click this.